You think you're becoming successful because of your own decisions. But what if some of your biggest decisions were actually influenced by people you've never met? The way you speak, the way you dress, the habits you follow, even the way you think about money, confidence, and success. You may believe these things are completely your own, but your brain may be quietly copying the people you admire most. And here's the disturbing part. You don't have to consciously copy someone for them to change you. In this video, we're going inside the psychology of imitation, status, and success to uncover why humans secretly copy successful people, and how the people you watch every day may be shaping the person you're becoming without you even realizing it. There is something happening inside your mind right now that you have probably never admitted to another living person somewhere. In this exact moment, there is someone you watch, you study whose voice you know better than some of your own family members, and without ever choosing to, you have started becoming a little more like them. You tell yourself it is nothing. You tell yourself it is just a coincidence. You tell yourself you simply like the way they dress, or the way they talk, or the way they carry themselves through a room. But somewhere underneath that explanation is a truth. Most people spend their whole lives avoiding you, are not just admiring them, you are copying them. And the strangest part is this: you were never taught to do this. Nobody sat you down and explained the rules, and yet almost every human being alive today does the exact same thing without realizing it. So tonight we are going to open a door that most people keep closet. We're going to ask why the brain secretly worships success status, can quietly rewire the way you think. The people you follow online may be shaping your identity while you sleep, and why the most dangerous kind of imitation is the kind you refuse to admit you are doing. This is the hidden psychology of why people secretly copy successful people. Stay until the end, because the final question in this video may completely change the way you see your own life. Part 1. Hunt for a model. Imagine waking up tomorrow in a place you have never seen before. No instructions, no science, no rule book. What is the very first thing your mind would do? It would search for a person who seems to understand what is happening. Somebody who looks calm, somebody who looks like they belong, somebody who looks like they already know the answer. This reaction is buried deep inside human behavior. For thousands of years, survival depended on finding the right person to imitate. One who knew where the food was, one who knew which paths were safe, the one who somehow always seemed to come out ahead. Your brain never lost that instinct. It still searches, it still hunts for a model, and in the modern world, that model is no longer just a tribal elder or a wise neighborhood model. Is a stranger on a screen, a person who seems to have cracked a code you have not cracked yet. And once your mind decides someone has cracked that code, everything about them suddenly becomes interesting. Fire walk there to nether morning, their words things that would normally mean nothing start to feel like secret clues. Spark 12 shortcut called status picture. Two people giving you the exact same vision of them is a stranger nobody has ever heard of. Other is someone widely seen as successful. Well, do you trust faster? Almost everyone leans toward the second person, not because the advice is different, but because the messenger feels different. This is one of the oldest tricks the human mind plays on itself. Treat success as proof of wisdom, or assume that if someone has achieved something we want, they must know something we do not. Sometimes that is true, but often it is not. A wealthy person can still make terrible choices. A famous person can still be wrong about almost everything. A powerful person can still be lost inside their own life. The mind rarely pauses to check. Instead, it whispers a simple and dangerous sentence: "He made it, so they must know the way." And once that sentence takes hold of everything about that person, begins to feel more convincing, their opinions feel sharper, their habits feel more meaningful, their flaws almost feel like secret strategies. This is how status quietly becomes a costume for truth. Part 3: The mirror hidden inside your mind. Have you ever noticed yourself smiling because someone near you smiled first, or felt your body tense the moment someone else looked afraid? Human beings are wired to reflect each other. We absorb tone, we absorb posture, we absorb energy without asking permission first. Now, imagine doing that with someone you deeply admire, not for a few minutes but for months, watching their interviews, studying their words, replaying their decisions in your mind. Slowly, your own voice starts borrowing pieces of their own thinking, starts bending toward their approach, and you never chose this moment. It happened gradually, in tiny, absorbed detail at a time, until one day you realize you sound a little different, think a little different, move through the world a little different, and somewhere along that path, a stranger's identity quietly blended into your spot, occupying the surface instead of the truth, is where the trap becomes dangerous. Most people do not copy what actually made someone successful. They copy what success appears to look like. Simeon becomes wealthy. They start wearing certain clothes, driving a certain car, speaking with a certain calm confidence, and the world watching them concludes this must be the formula. So people copy the formula: outfit, accent, vocabulary, aesthetic, but they miss the invisible part, complete alive years of quiet failure, boring, unglamorous effort, risks nobody filmeth, mistakes nobody posted, sacrifices made when no one was watching. Copying the appearance feels easier. Buying new clothes is easier than building discipline. Repeating a phrase is easier than developing real skill. Adopting a routine is easier than developing patience, and this is why so many people who imitate success end up further from it. They built a foundation. Part 5: Crowd effect. Think about walking past two restaurant zones. It's empty. Other has a line stretching out the door. Which one pulls at your curiosity most? Everyone leans toward the crowd because the crowd feels like proof. If this many people believe something is worth their time, maybe it actually is. This same instinct applies to people. When a person becomes successful, attention gathers around them, and that attention becomes its own kind of evidence. People see others respecting this person, so they respect them. Two people see others listening, so they lean in and listen as well. People see followers, so they wonder what all those followers already know. It becomes a loop. Attention creates importance. Importance creates more attention, and somewhere inside that loop, the truth of whether the person actually deserves it quietly disappears. Part 6: Pull of someone only slightly odd. Interestingly, people are not most inspired by those impossibly far above. Theme: a life of private jets and empires can feel too distant to relate to. Instead, the strongest pull often comes from someone only a few steps ahead. A beginner does not always study the legend. Sometimes they study the person just a little further down the same road because that person feels reachable. Their story whispers something powerful. They are not so different from me, and once that thought forms, imitation becomes almost automatic. Base. Now the brain is not just admiring someone, it is imagining a future version of itself. Part 7: Identity shift. People rarely want success itself. They want to feel like the G's kind of person who deserves success. Starts exercising and at first thinks, I need to work out, but eventually the thought shifts to something deeper. I am someone who takes care of their body. That shift changes everything because identity is Far stronger than motivation, a behavior becomes part of who you believe you are. Stop forcing yourself to do it. This is why people admire entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, and leaders so intensely. These figures represent identities we secretly long for and when we imitate them, we are not only borrowing their habits, we're trying to borrow a piece of who they are. Part 8. Why we hide it from ourselves. No, here is the uncomfortable part. Why do people rarely admit they are copying someone? Because almost everyone wants to believe their choices are entirely their own. Nobody wants to whisper, "I am just copying another person." So the mind builds a softer story instead of admitting, "I started dressing this way because I admire them," or say, "This is simply my style," instead of admitting, "I adopted this routine because of them," or say, "This routine just works for me." And maybe parts of that are true, but underneath it, influence is still quietly shaping the outcome. If human mind is always absorbing its surroundings, people you watch, voices you hear, repeated opinions you scroll past again and again, all of it seeps in slowly long before you ever consciously agree to let it. Part 9. Danger of admiring the wrong person. But here is where things turn dark. If humans naturally imitate success, it happens when the person being imitated has broken values hidden beneath the surface, because someone can be successful and still be dishonesty, can have money and still have no peace, can have influence and still have no integrity, can have a massive audience and still have empty relationships. And social media multiplies this danger because you almost never see someone's full life. You see selected moments, private struggles, vanish the anxiety, vanishes the arguments, vanish the exhausting ordinary days, vanished camera turns on, and suddenly everything appears flawless. So people end up comparing their unfiltered real life to someone else's carefully arranged highlight reel, and that comparison can quietly wound a person for years. Part 10. The halo that blinds us. There is a well-known psychological pattern called the halo effect. When we admire someone in one area, that admiration secretly spreads into other areas as well. Samin looks confident, so we assume they must be intelligent. Somi is wealthy, so we assume they must be disciplined. Is attractive, so we assume they must be. Kinsimion is famous, so we assume they must be important. That none of these connections are guaranteed. A person can be wealthy and reckless, intelligent and cruel, famous and deeply unhappy, confident and completely mistaken. Yet once someone earns the label successful, mind quietly upgrades everything else about the man. That upgraded perception becomes another silent reason we imitate them. Part 11. When copying actually helps. No, here is a twist worth sitting with. Copying is not automatically a bad thing. In fact, it is one of the oldest and fastest ways humans learn. Children learn language through imitation. Children learn behavior through imitation. Adults never fully outgrow this method. We simply stop noticing we are still using it. If you find someone who has built something you genuinely want, studying them can be incredibly valuable, but the difference between wasted imitation and powerful learning comes down to one thing though: not copy the surface, study the system. Instead of asking, what clothes do they wear? Ask, why do they make the decisions they make? Instead of asking, what time do they wake up? Ask, how do they organize their priority? Instead of asking, what words do they use? Ask, how did they build their communication skill in the first place? Copying the result rarely works. Understanding the process almost always does. Part 12. Principle hidden behind the habit. Imagine discovering that a successful person wakes up at 5 in the morning. It is tempting to think that is the secret, but Maybe it is not maybe the real advantage is not the hour they wake up maybe, it is consistent cybe. It is focus maybe, it is the discipline to protect their time from distraction. This is why blind imitation so often fails. People copy the visible behavior but they miss the invisible reason behind it. A wiser approach is to ask, what principle is this person actually following? If the principle is discipline, build discipline in a way that fits your own life. If the principle is deep focused work, design your own version of that focus. If the principle is constant learning, build your own personal system for growth. That is how imitation quietly transforms into something real. You stop becoming a copy and start becoming an upgraded version of yourself. Part 13. Your environment is quietly training you. Ask yourself an uncomfortable question. Whoa, are you surrounded by because the people near you do more than affect your mood? They shape what feels normal to you. If everyone around you constantly complains, complaining starts to feel ordinary. If everyone avoids risk, ambition starts to feel unreasonable. If everyone believes big goals are impossible, your own dreams begin shrinking to match theirs. But the reverse is also true. Spend enough time near people who think bigger and your own sense of what is possible quietly expands you. Start hearing different questions, different standards, different expectations, and slowly your thinking shifts to match them. This is why so many successful people say they changed their surroundings before they ever changed their results. Your environment constantly whispers one simple message: this is what people like us don't. The human mind is remarkably sensitive to that phrase. Part 14. Digital environment inside your pocket. There is something most people completely overlook here. Environment is not only the physical world around you, it is also digital. If you spend 3 hours a day watching certain creators, they have quietly become part of your psychological environment. Their voice becomes familiar, their opinions become familiar, their definition of success becomes familiar, and familiar things start to feel true. Whether or not they actually are. This means your feed is never just entertainment, can slowly become a form of conditioning. If your feed constantly shows people building businesses, you begin thinking more about business. If it constantly shows fitness, you begin thinking more about your body. If it constantly shows luxury, you begin quietly linking success with expensive things. If it constantly shows negativity, your entire outlook can begin to darken. So ask yourself honestly, whoa, am I allowing into my mind every single day? Because attention is never free. Whatever repeatedly receives your attention earns the power to shape you. Part 15. Inspiration versus imitation. There is a critical difference between being inspired by someone and trying to completely become them. Inspiration whispers, they showed me what is possible. Imitation demands, I need to become exactly like them. First, can make you stronger. Second, can make you disappear. You do not need their persona lit. You do not need their exact lifestyle. You do not need their words, their clothes, or their opinion. Shit you actually need is to understand the qualities that created the results you admire. Maybe it is discipline, maybe it is courage, maybe it is patience, maybe it is resilience. The principle, leave the personality behind. Part 16. Even the people you admire are copying someone else, and here is the twist most people never consider. The person you admire is very likely copying somebody too. The entrepreneur you study may be quietly studying another entrepreneur. Athlete you admire may be studying an athlete before them. The writer whose words move you may have been shaped by writers before them. Almost nobody at the top builds everything from nothing. They observe, they study, they borrow ideas, they adapt them. They combine what they learned with their own unique experience. This is how human progress has always worked. are never really starting from zero, are building on what came before using the real difference between blind copying and true learning comes down to what you choose to do with what you absorb. A copier repeats, a learner transforms. Part 17th. Question that changes everything. So the next time you find yourself fascinated by someone successful, though not ask how can I become exactly like them, ask instead what can I actually learn from them. That single shift changes everything because it creates healthy distance between admiration and identity. Can admire someone without losing yourself in them. You can study someone without disappearing into them. You can borrow a single useful habit without absorbing their entire personality. And most importantly, you can take what genuinely works and use it to build something that finally belongs only to you. Part 18th. Mirror turned back on you. Let this question turn back toward your own life. Think about the 5 people you spend the most time watching. Whoa. Are they? What do you admire in them? What have you quietly absorbed from them? What beliefs have slipped into your mind because of them? And here is the deepest question of all. Do you still want these qualities if nobody ever found out you had them? Because sometimes we do not actually want success itself, want the attention that success seems to bring. We do not want wealth, want the respect we imagine wealth will earn us. We do not want real confidence. Want to be seen as confident by others, and understanding that one difference can quietly change the entire direction of your life. And doing so. Why do people secretly copy successful people? Because human beings are built to search for models. See someone who achieved something valuably and our minds instantly begin searching for clues, study their behavior, absorb their habits, borrow their language, imitate their confidence, and often, without ever noticing it happening, we begin building pieces of our own identity out of borrowed fragments of someone else. But here is the lesson worth carrying with you. Learning from successful people is not the problem losing yourself while doing it. Is study their discipline, study their decision, study even their failure, study the principles hidden underneath their success. Then take what you learn and use it to build a path that is entirely your own, because the goal was never to become the person you admire. If goal is to become someone you yourself would admire, and maybe that is the deepest psychological secret hiding inside all of this. People you secretly copy today may simply be showing you a glimpse of who you are still becoming. So choose carefully who you watch, whose carefully who you admire, whose carefully whose voice you allow inside your mind. Best whatever you repeatedly observe again quietly become what you repeatedly believe, and what you repeatedly believe eventually becomes who you are. So the next time you find yourself admiring someone successful, stop for a moment and ask yourself, what exactly am I copying from this person? Is it their discipline, their confidence, their ambition, or simply the image of success they present to the world? Because you don't become the people you admire by accident. You become them through the ideas you repeatedly consume, the behaviors you repeatedly observe, and the standards you repeatedly accept. So don't blindly copy successful people, study them. Take their discipline, not their identity. Take their principles, not their personality. Take the lessons, not the lifestyle, because the goal isn't to become a copy of someone else's success. The goal is to take what you learn from them and build a version of yourself that you would be proud to become. And remember, the people you watch today may be quietly shaping the person you become tomorrow. This is Human Hour. If you want to uncover more hidden psychology behind the way people think, behave, and influence each other. Subscribe to Human Hour, because once you understand the human mind, you start seeing people and yourself very differently.